You're listening to From a Certain Point of Skew, the only Star Wars podcast to have secured multiple sponsorships from a galaxy far, far away. I am Jason, the Angry Ginger Jedi Guy. I'm broadcasting live from inside my Wookiee Poo studios, but I'm not alone in spirit, at least. Over on the Skype lines, we've got Darth Mathias with us once again, who's going to give us show particulars, and then we'll get into other things. Hello, sir.
How you doing?
Were you doing a voice?
No, just said how you doing. That was it.
Oh, I'm well.
There has to be more to this.
There was a pregnant pause there, and then you just came alive with how you doing. I was like, what's going on over there?
I don't know. Well, I am doing well. It's going to be a little bit of a different episode today for us because we don't have a huge main topic we're getting into, but we got a lot of news stuff to catch up on because we didn't get a chance to do an episode last week. So so we're getting back to it.
Next week will be a huge topic, though.
Yes. We're doing a big Ahsoka preview. I sent out a question to everybody asking you to send in your thoughts, theories. We'd love some really wild theories to go through. We're going to have a special guest on to go through all that stuff.
Yep.
It used to be Darth Flamingus, but he sold all his podcasting equipment.
I know.
So
he doesn't have a Twitter account anymore. I don't know. So I was like, all right, I'll text him. And then he answers with, I sold it all. He sold it all to a work buddy, but he's going to produce his buddy's show.
Oh, my God.
So I was like, okay.
Interesting. Well, yeah, I think it was all of a sudden I was looking at Twitter going like, hey, reach out to Dave. There's no Dave of Diamonds anymore. He doesn't exist. He's off the face of the earth.
Man.
Oh, Darth Flamingus. We'll miss you. But if you would like to find our show from a certain point of skew.com, we're on Twitter at FACPApod, and you can email the show. Please do, FACPApod@gmail.com. What's on the show, Jay?
On the show today, we've got lots of news. We've got the Acolyte pre-pro and Neo. Andor wrapping early. Lando on the go-go, Mando Season 4, now a movie, and then from a certain point of view, Return of the Jedi. I can't even read that without saying, I want to say askew.
I screwed up every single time I read that. In fact, I think when I first typed this on the doc, I put askew.
Now, do you have the book?
I don't have it yet. We'll get to that. It doesn't come out till the end of the month.
Oh, okay. I've just seen it all over Twitter, so I just assumed it was out.
Yeah, not yet. And then we have a couple Maul bags.
2 Maul bags. Well,
Nice.
1 Maul bag, two emails in that sack.
That's right. That's correct. You got it. Okay. Acolyte. So there were reports that the pre-production budget for the Acolyte was just a shade under $50 million. Ooh, boy.
That's insane.
They're not fucking around. That's like movie style pre-production.
Yes.
Granted, Andor was almost 70, but it was 12 episodes, huge production.
Well, didn't they say was it the Rise of Skywalker, the last one? Didn't they say that was within a few million higher or lower than that?
Yeah, I think Rogue One was a little cheaper for pre-production than this show. So that's wild. Some of the things I was noticing when I was reading about it is it's going to be a lot of fighting sequences and action. And Leslie Headland, who had a quote, she said, "We have more Jedi in the Acolyte than you've seen in any other Star Wars content." That's a bold statement considering Attack of the Clones had a fucking million of them in that battle on Geonosis. Although 75% of them were probably CGI.
Yeah, yes. And this is a time where they were thriving, right? So there's just going to, you're just going to see a bunch of people in robes.
Right. It's just, it's going to look like a bunch of monks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're Jedi, but we're not going to see an all-out war.
I don't know.
Going on.
I don't think so. Especially because, this is really like we talked about, is that it's from the perspective of the dark side users. And this is really like when the Jedi, like you said, are thriving. They're everywhere. So I don't think you're going to see massive 50v50 battles. It's going to be smaller scale, but still you're going to see a lot of Jedi in this show.
Yep.
It also, and the thing is, I mentioned the CGI. It sounds like they're really trying to stay away from the CGI, which is great. Like they're really trying to push for kind of more of an original trilogy feel and a lot of practical
Everything's
effects.
practical. Yeah.
But also on those fighting sequences, Manny Jacinto, who's in the series, he said, quote, "If you love that sequence with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan and Darth Maul, I think you're going to enjoy the show." Ooh.
Yeah, that's a good promise right there.
Yeah. So they said a lot of lightsaber battles, a lot of very samurai influence, a lot of martial arts, which I love.
Yeah.
Because, that's something you get a lot in other science fiction, not necessarily Star Wars, is the actual, that kind of fighting. It's usually the sabers and the guns versus the actual physical.
It's going to be the Matrix with lightsabers.
Well, it's funny you say that. Because that's the other big one. There's a big juicy rumor that Keanu Reeves is supposed to be or filmed a scene. They said it's really cameo-esque. And so it made us think, we were joking about how, like, are we getting the Matrix crossover? Is he going to be Neo and show up and, like, find a young Anakin and be like, I'm the fucking chosen one, all right? I'm the one.
The battle of the chosen ones.
Ooh, I like Keanu in that battle.
Yeah, if it's just a cameo, you don't get Keanu for a cameo, right? So if it is, I'm thinking, is this what leads to like the bigger character or something for season 2?
Right, that's what I was thinking.
Because this isn't a standalone, right? As far as we are led to believe, this is going to be a series of seasons.
There's at least supposed to be a couple seasons. I don't know how many they're planning on, but I don't think you bring him in for a quick cameo and go, that's good. I think you're setting him up for a larger appearance later, either within this show or within another show or movie.
Well, I mean, with the timeline, it won't fit any. Well, unless he's like something that just lives forever, right? Because this is 300 years, 100 years before.
Maybe he's a Force ghost.
Oh, so he's already dead.
He's already dead. Maybe we're going to see him in the Mangold thing. Maybe he's going to be, I don't know. I'm throwing a lot of.
Well, he does have that Jesus look, although he might be a little too old to play anything by then. He's in his 60s now, isn't he?
I think if he's not, he's close.
Yeah.
He's probably still in his 50s, isn't he?
I'm looking it up.
I'm going to guess he's 57, 56, 57.
58 years old.
Oh, almost nailed it. If it happens, it's a big rumor. Nobody's really confirmed it, but if it happens, fuck yeah, let's go. I'm excited for that because I mean, he just makes total sense to be in Star Wars somewhere. The man's made for these movies.
Well, is it Darth Raven, right? Is that who everyone wants him to play? And isn't that Knights of the Old Republic?
I thought it was I think maybe it is Revan. I couldn't remember which Darth it was, but I think you're right. Okay. I think that's the one that he's been rumored to be for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see it. And then the only other thing I was going to mention is that there's been more reports about like when they're targeting the release of the show. And they were saying, Q2 of next year, which is what I think we've heard all along. But of course, with the strike, who knows what the fuck's going to happen? But they were saying April to June timeframe would be likely
of next year.
Correct.
Because that's finished. That was all shot. Like the strike hasn't ruined anything with the Acolyte.
I believe they've filmed it all and completed the filming. So,
I just don't know. Well, because the special effects houses, they don't have their own union, so I don't think they're included in anything that's happening right now. So they can probably work. So it might be all right.
I think they can work. I don't know how much Leslie Headland what she can do.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't know. There's a lot of post-production stuff that has to happen that's going to take a little time.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It still may be doable. I mean, we'd like to get this strike sorted. Goddamn studios. Let's go.
They're supposed to meet tomorrow.
All right. Well, I know. Fingers crossed. Mm-hmm. Is that for the writers, though, or is that the actors one? Only one
I
of
believe
them
it's the actors.
Actors, okay. Speaking of the strike, Andor, it's having an impact on season 2 and starting to make me a little nervous. They started filming back in November. They were supposed to go through August, but due to the strike, they're apparently wrapping up early, or at least pausing because a good portion of the crew can't work. I mean, the UK crew not only can work, but is obligated to work.
Yes. Yeah, because they're not part of the union.
Right. So there's a whole rule that they're not supposed to side with them.
Yep.
But I mean, Gilroy's been out. Luna's been out. So like, how are you going to finish this if you're not done shooting already?
Yeah.
And when I think you flagged this one first and kind of said the same thing. It was just like, I don't want anything to drop into the half-ass zone on finishing up this series and making it fantastic because it's so good so far.
And I don't think they do either. And if they're smart, like usually with big productions, mostly films, but I'm guessing when you're shooting these series like this, when you still go back for reshoots, right? That's already built into a schedule. So hopefully they go back and they just get those shots when they go back to do whatever they have to in a few months. I'm guessing that's probably part of the plan.
I sure hope so.
They kept filming when Gilroy walked away, right? They were like, well, we'll finish this up without him. Didn't we do the news on that? And then would that last like 2 weeks? And they were like, well, we're going to just shut down. So, I really hope that Disney is not like, well, we got to get this product out there. No, keep it a masterpiece. Take your time.
Yeah, because that was back in May when he stopped. So they had 6 months of production, but then they were supposed to have 3 more. Yeah. So, that makes me nervous. Don't do it. Don't fuck it up. wild stuff going on with the Lando series, which, we wondered if this was if it had any life at all for a long time. And it was, obviously announced back on Investor Day, whenever that was, 2020. And then just quiet for a while, Donald Glover working on other projects, et cetera. And then at one point, a few months ago, I think it was, Kennedy came out and said like, oh no, it's still happening. We're just waiting for Donald to be available, blah, blah, blah. And then the writing situation came to light recently because first there's this comment from Justin Simeon.
Yeah.
Where he's like, I have no idea what's going on with it.
Right.
Like literally said, I have not heard anything since it was announced.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh. And then a day or two later, Twitter announces something else. And he found out on Twitter.
That's the wild thing. Yes. All of a sudden it's announced. Jeff Schneider, I think, was one of the first to report it about the Glover brothers.
Yes.
It's Donald and Steven who are writing the show now. And they're saying Simeon found out from that post.
Yeah.
He had no idea.
Well, he posted my reaction to finding out on Twitter or something, and it was a GIF or a meme or something. So yeah, he was fired apparently, and the Glover brothers are now in the mood on Twitter. Let's just it seems to be people are excited, right? But there are some people that are like, well, Donald Glover, even though he's got some accolades in writing and directing, he's never written science fiction, right? But I think he's going to go in there with the ideas. You're going to have someone that's going to be like, oh, like with Andor, right? Mm-hmm. They did their show, and then someone else was like, oh, let's plug some of these things in there, make it Star Wars. Yeah, but, he's a huge pop culture nerd,
totally.
And he actually wrote. I don't know if they started animating it, but there was going to be a Deadpool animated show a few years ago, and then when Disney bought Fox, that was one of the first things they canceled. Was that?
Oh, okay.
But so there was him and his brother had written the scripts. It was ready to go. So I don't think this is like too far out of the realm of his abilities.
Yeah, and good writers are good writers. I've watched some of his show Atlanta, which is really good, and I've watched. I'm trying to think what else there was some quote at some point where he was talking about getting to be Lando, like he's wanted to do this his whole life, like as a kid, and that he's a Star Wars fan. Mm-hmm. So I'm not too worried about it. It is exciting to think about too, because then it means that he and his brother can really like kind of craft the character however they want.
Yes, I think
which
so.
Which is great. Mm-hmm. It sounds like Simeon's not going to get any writing credit, so they're just like completely scrapping his concept that he pitched, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. Ooh. Yeah.
Ouch. He had some other comment when he was talking about, oh God, what was it? He said something about how, he was like, oh, I'm attached, but I don't really know. And then he said, it's funny how I have these ideas that these things I come up with and create, and then they just never get made. I don't know why. He said that. It's like, oh.
Oh, man.
Well, he just did Haunted Mansion, which is getting some mixed reviews.
This is Kennedy's, this is her playbook, right? The second someone's attached to one of their projects and the project they have doesn't do well, they're gone from the Star Wars project.
I checked Rotten Tomatoes on that last night. Audience scores are good, but the reviews are not. It's like a 30-something%, like 35, 38%. And the audience, though, is like 85.
I hear there are moments that work in the movie and the actors all do good jobs, but the story itself isn't that compelling, I guess.
Okay. Well,
is what they say. So I've not had a chance to see it yet. And to be honest, the trailers didn't really I need to go see this movie. So
it just came out this last weekend, right?
Yeah.
And I think it made like $30 million in the first weekend. So, these days, that's not a terrible opening.
That's true. This has been a weird summer for movies. Like all the movies you thought were going to be just massive blockbusters have just kind of gone out there and gone away. And then, it's really weird. Like I can't put my finger on, because none of them have been terrible movies. The Indiana Jones was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a good, fun movie. It was an Indiana Jones movie. They hit all the marks to me. I don't know how that movie just didn't build any steam. Mission Impossible kind of was a turd, at least in the box office. But there's no way. I've read not one thing bad about that movie.
I haven't seen it yet.
How it's not making money, I have no idea.
Yeah, I was starting to think, is it just, and a lot of people talk about this, is it people are only going to go to a movie that they think, well, Mission Impossible would be this type of movie. Yeah. You feel like you have to see it in the theater. Yeah. So many people are used to watching everything at home. I think the pandemic changed that a lot. Everybody's just used to watching. Maybe everybody got a sweet home studio. They just watch all that shit there now. And they're so comfortable waiting. And not to mention, I think the other thing that doesn't help, and I mean, I don't know all the logistics behind it. I'm sure it's all driven by money, et cetera. But when movies used to come out, especially big movies, they were in the theater for like 3 fucking months. Now it feels like they're in the theater for a month max, and then they're gone. Why the turnover?
Well, the pandemic changed that. I think they all have, I think it's less than 30 days. Was it Paramount made a commitment? I don't remember now. One of them was like 18 days. And then I think they went back and agreed to like have the movies sit for so long in the theater, but they're rolling them out so fast because like I think Mario just hit Peacock today. Guardians of the Galaxy is within the next day, a week.
Yeah.
Guardians 3 hits Disney Plus. Like it's just, they're putting them out immediately. It's already on. It's the last movie that Disney's going to print on Blu-ray is Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh man. Well, I mean, yeah, there's I guess it's like they're so worried about making sure their streaming service maintains its customer base and subscribers that it rushes to get things there.
Well, I mean, if the box office was still pulling in money, they wait. They'll let it continue that way. But the second there's not money coming in, they just drop it in the home markets.
But like, if you look back on old like movies from 30 years ago, even big movies, it's like if you watch the week by week, like it starts to drop pretty far down, but it stays there.
Yes,
and they're still
they
pulling
had
in.
nowhere else to put it though. Right?
That's true. They didn't have a streaming service. It was VHS eventually.
Yep.
Yeah,
because Top Gun, I think Top Gun played in theaters for a year.
Oh my God.
And I think Crocodile Dundee was pretty close to that as well.
I remember there's a little theater in the town I'm from that I'm pretty sure Cocoon was there for like 4 years. It was there for so fucking long. Yeah, it's just different. But yeah, so it's hard. It's hard to gauge like what is a bomb and not, because it seems like so many are rushing through. But yeah, the Haunted Mansion one, I wonder if that somehow played into Kennedy's thoughts, because it sounds like he's been off the project for a long time, like 6 months.
Well,
really.
There's at least been no movement on it. Yeah. So right.
So I don't know.
And I wonder how long, if they're announcing this. This means that, I mean, this happened way before the strike. Then the Glovers were attached, and maybe they've been writing. So
yeah, I would think that they've already started and gotten through some stuff. I mean, I don't think they just got assigned to do it without talking to her and saying, this is our concept for what we want to do with the
right. Yeah, there was definitely a pitch involved. Right.
Yeah. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how it turns out. But again, we're kind of stuck in limbo land here. But I'm optimistic though, because I think that those guys know what they're doing, and I think it's going to be fun.
I think so too. And I'd really love to see at least an episode where he ties back in with Han.
Oh yeah. Like we're not getting Solo 2. It just feels like it's never going to happen.
Right.
It's almost like we're going to get to a point where it's like it's too late. And, or a series or something like that. So this is it, as far as we know. But you could bring in a lot of characters here. You could bring him and Chewie.
Well, I think he's going to be a very recognizable face in the next year.
Aaron Reich?
Yeah. Aaron Reich had, I guess
Oppenheimer,
he really held his own in Oppenheimer in the little bit that he was in it. Cocaine Bear was big for him. He's got a movie that he did. I think we might have talked about it a little bit. It played at, I think it was Cannes, and Netflix bought it. There was a big bidding war for it. I think it comes out in the next month or two. It's like a corporate sex movie.
Oh.
It's a man and a woman.
Like Disclosure.
Like that, but modern. It's supposed to be like really freaking good. Like they're really good write up about it. And then he's also got, what's the other movie? TV show. He hasn't said who he's playing. It's kind of been under wraps, but he's in the Ironheart show.
Oh, okay.
The spin-off of Iron Man.
Yeah. Huh.
So
I'm a fan. I mean, I know others aren't, but I'm a fan of his, and so I would love to see him make even an appearance in that Lando series. It would make total sense.
Well, it makes sense like, why wouldn't Disney at least put that little feeler out to see what the audience does with it? You know, like, if they react positively to it, they have another avenue to go down. You know,
right. Yeah, he shows up and it's well received. Then they're like, okay, maybe we will turn this into something. I don't know. I always thought Solo 2 as a series would be interesting, but I don't know, a movie would be fine too. I'm good with either way, but yeah, you got to include him somehow in that.
Yep.
So, and then another thing that didn't help also with with all this stuff was the Billy D. Williams tweet where he's like, "Something big is coming. May the force be with you all." And we're like, "Holy shit! They're going to announce something. They're going to announce something." And all of a sudden, you said, "I think he's got a book coming out." I was like, "Oh, nailed it! Autobiography."
Yeah, the next day or that later on that day, he'd release the information. Yeah.
Well, I like what he named it. What have we here? Okay, next up, well, very much in the rumor zone here. Is The Mandalorian Season 4 being changed from a series to a movie, Jay?
No. No.
Yeah.
I don't see it happen. Like, I went digging on this because when I saw it and then you sent it in our little chat and I was like, I've only seen, was it Bespin News, right?
The Bespin Bulletin, yeah.
Or it was
from Making of Star Wars.
Right, but the original, we saw it from like another one, and then I dug back and found so there were 3 different sources, and in the Making Star Wars article, they were the ones that quoted that they had more than one source. So then I'm like, but if you read it, it reads as like it's like the corporate table, like they're all sitting around trying to just figure out what they're going to do to have content out there and what's the best way to do things. Mm-hmm. It doesn't sound like we're turning Mando into a movie. No.
Yes, very much sound like they were kicking the idea around. This is the reports came from RFB's boy, the guy, what's his name, Jason or something, for Making Star Wars. Because they were supposed to start filming next month. I think the where the rumor started to come from was this was almost like a backup plan. Like, hey, if this strike lingers too long, and we really don't want to slow down the Filoni crossover movie, so like we might need to just crank this up, and make this a movie, and get it out there so that we can get to that movie. Then they started talking about, well, maybe that movie would be pushed out. So then what's the point of rushing Mando?
It doesn't make any sense. We're in the middle of a writer's strike. The scripts are written. So once the actors sign, they can go back to work, right? The scripts are written already.
Right.
If they're going to turn it into a movie, then they have to rewrite, 8 episodes to fit into a 2.5-hour movie. How long is that going to take Favreau to do? Like, they probably are already pre-viz. They've got everything. So reworking a script probably wouldn't take that long, but that's still a process they have to do that would take longer than just starting to make the series. Yeah. So it doesn't make any sense to turn it into a movie.
And does this mean there's been rumors that if Ahsoka's well received, there'll be a second season of that would come before that movie as well. So it's like, is that now going to feel like it's got to be rushed and jammed together to come out before that movie? Yeah, I don't know. I
mean, I know like Iger's new plan is theatrical. Like, everything doesn't have to go to Disney Plus first.
Sure.
And it seems like a lot of the streamers are changing their mind about how much they're spending for exclusive stuff on their, let's put it out and bring it in house afterwards. And some of was it Disney, I think, is going to do it, but HBO Max, they're lending their series out now. They're putting it out on different streamers.
Yeah, right. And there was talk of that. Yeah. Well, there's been all sorts of crazy rumors. At some point, you and I were going to do like a random across the board rumor episode. We'll do that at some point. And one of them being is Bob Iger setting Disney up to be sold to Apple.
I think I would not be surprised if Disney is sold in the next couple of years.
We'll see. It could be, maybe he wants his contract to run through the end of that time, and then he's like, all right,
2026,
turning it over to Apple.
What's that fucking bonus going to look like?
Could you imagine that company?
Oh my God.
Apple owning Disney. I mean, fuck's sake.
Would all of our Apple Macs have Disney ears on the Apple?
Oh, that'd be wild. All right. Well, the last thing from the news, or if you want to call it news, in book news, I guess you could say, something we don't cover a lot on the show, but the From a Certain Point of View books. I've talked about them in the past. My family owns the first 2. They're really fun stories. I mean, it can be a little hit and miss at times, but there's a lot of stuff where basically it's, from the point of view of a background character, somebody who we've seen in the movie, but doesn't necessarily have their story fleshed out. I think I just saw the bug. Is there a bug flying around here?
Yeah, just apparently I'm a filthy animal. Fucking.
So this new one that's coming out, it's the end of August, I believe, like last week of August, and it's timed, of course, because this is the 40th anniversary year of Return of the Jedi. That's how they released the last 2. So I thought we could go over maybe you have read these, or you have not read these?
I've not read any of them.
Okay. Like I said, some of them are like 2 pages. Some of them are 25 pages. And like I said, some of them are good. Some of them are like, this is ridiculous. It's just a mix because there's 40 stories in each book. Damn. So we're right now, me and my younger son and I read them together, and we're like maybe a quarter of the way through the Empire book. We've read the A New Hope book, but I thought we could go over a few of the titles so you know what's coming. We should find a way to do something fun with these books at some point on the show. But straight away, neighbor Cole, you listening? Fancy Man, which is a story about Max Rebo.
Yep. And there was a blurb of the
I didn't see the blurb on this one. What did you?
Yeah, someone posted. I should have shared them with you. Someone shared. It was like it was the title, the author, and then like a small paragraph
for each one of them.
Yep.
Oh, fuck.
There were like 4 or 5, I think, different stories I saw. Well, but the first one I saw was the Max Rebo one.
I wish I would have had that information. Well, we're just gonna have to guess then. It's written, by the way, by, I got to say his name wrong, Phil Szostak. Is that his name?
Yes.
Yeah. So he
might have been one posting the stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. He's all over the place. Like it
takes place on the barge, on Jabba's barge.
Fantastic.
During the Luke Skywalker and Leia up top doing.
So we're gonna get a taste of how he got out, aren't we?
Yes, exactly. I think we are.
Good. Fortuna favors the bold. Bib Fortuna story.
Bib Fortuna.
Maybe they get into like his diet and workout regimen that he was doing that just fell apart by the time we see him in Book of Boba Fett.
Now, are these stories considered canon?
I think they are.
Okay.
That's a good question. I don't know if it's fully been considered that, but the way they're released and how they're included along with the stories, I kind of feel like they are.
Right. Okay.
They don't seem to go too crazy with stuff as far as like making some big reveal about something. It's mostly little one-off stuff. I mean, especially in the New Hope version, it was like, I think I told you, there was a story about the guys who said, there goes another one with the escape probes coming off at the very beginning of A New Hope. And they're like, no, hold your fire. There's no life forms on board.
Yeah.
There's a whole story about those two guys and having that conversation. So it's that kind of thing. They really get into that stuff.
None of the stories are going to change continuity or anything. So they might as well just be involved with canon because it's just a little side thing, right?
Or just filling in
you
little
saw
blanks.
This scene, this happened, or just after. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And filling in blanks. And a lot of them are meant to kind of be, I mean, it's meant to be entertainment. It's they're having fun with it. You know what I mean? So I don't know. They're fun stories and they're very short, so you can kind of plow through them. It's kind of fun. It's probably good toilet reading for you. I know you like Variety or whatever, is a Hollywood Reporter or whatever.
I read it all.
Everyone's a Critic, which is a Salacious B. Crumb. Is that going to be from the point of view of a monkey lizard? Is that
interesting?
What was going through his head?
Yeah, before he got slapped. Yeah.
It's just him hitting that fucking reefer the whole time. That dude was high as fuck.
Yeah.
Satisfaction about Cy Snoodles. Lord help us. Do you remember Cy Snoodles?
The name sounds familiar.
She's the lead singer.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And she's also the one who killed Zero the Hutt, if you go back to Clone Wars.
Right. So what is this story called?
It's called Satisfaction. So we'll have to see what that means. I don't know. This one killed me when I read it because it sounds like he's sad and depressed. My mouth never closes. It's about the Sarlacc.
Fuck yes.
Always open.
Nice. We've got some stories about the Sarlacc too.
We do. I know. They should have asked us again. They didn't ask us. There is another one called No Contingency. This is about your gal Mon Mothma.
Oh.
Yeah, there might be a blurb about this I haven't seen, but by the way, let's talk for a second about that animated GIF or whatever the hell it was. That little. Yeah. What was that? You got it sent. I saw it going around on Twitter. It was just her sitting on the couch, like looking outside at a stormy Coruscant or something.
Yeah, and it was just like you could hear the rain. And at first, I was like, "Oh, this is kind of cool. It's a drawing, but they put sound in it." And then as I'm looking at it, like she winks, blinks, like wait a minute, this thing's fucking. It tripped me out. I didn't realize it had a little bit of motion to it. And I think at one point she moves her head a little bit. I was like, what is the purpose of this?
Were you like on no sleep when you saw this? Because all of a sudden she starts going like, Jay. Like she starts looking at you and talking.
Oh my God. Yeah. I started tripping balls. Had a whole conversation with her.
Oh my God.
You need to leave him.
So for this story alone, you're in.
Yes.
Then there's a bunch of other stuff. There's stories about, I mean, it's like Obi-Wan, Palps, Anakin, Boba Fett, Akbar.
Obi-Wan, he's dead.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It must be a Force Ghost thing. I don't understand how they're going to do that. Nora Wexley, which is an Aftermath series call out there. Admiral Piet, that's the main guy that takes over at some point during Return of the Jedi when he chokes out the other dude.
Okay.
You know him when you'd see his face. Yeah. General Pride, Richard E. Grant's character that we see in Rise of Skywalker. Yep. He somehow shows up there. Lando, Wicket, Dexter fucking Jetster. There's a story about him.
Nice.
Guess he's still around. 40 stories in all. I'm gonna definitely get it when it comes out. It looks fun.
Now, when I said this to you the other day, and I really think that we should do this. We'll make our own from a certain point of skew book, and we can get away with it with parody, right?
Sure.
And I think, but we should invite listeners to write a story, and we'll write stories, and then we can do an episode or two where we read them and then collect them or whatever. But I think that would be fun.
All right.
It'd be a fun project to do.
The challenge has been put out, folks. And I'm going to have to lean a lot on you there because you're the writer of the two of us.
Well, I try.
Well, yeah, we could do it several ways. You could compile them all into an episode or two, like you said, or you could just, it would be our little like FACBA reading corner. We just do share it periodically when we get stories.
Okay.
Either way.
That'd
be fun.
I like that. And then when we get enough, we can collect it. We'll put it we'll put it in our merchandise store.
Get it leather bound. Put it in the store.
Yeah.
And then that's really when the lawyers get on our ass.
I'm going to keep this project going. I think we need to do this.
All right, we'll keep pimping it. But, we already got nailed for our logo, our old logo. You can only imagine what's going to happen when we release this.
We're going to need a lawyer.
We're going to need a lawyer. Any lawyers out there? We need you. You need to work pro bono, though. Our funds are dried up.
Well, we'll see how our commercials start playing.
That's right. We got commercials
cease
coming.
And desist on those. Yeah. Yep. I want to have one ready for Ahsoka, like when that show starts. So we've got like 2 weeks to get the 3 weeks to get the first promo.
Just under 3
ready. Okay, yeah. I think we can do that.
I think we can. Yeah,
but we're gonna discuss that off air, correct?
We are gonna discuss that. Yeah, after this. A couple entries in the Maul Bag. Brian Hour, first up. Always Brian Hour. Thank you. Greetings to my favorite band of malcontents and ruffians. No, that's not right. Greetings, ne'er-do-wells. Still not it. Greetings, scoundrels. That works.
I like it.
How goest thee as we set forth to embark on a glorious crusade? Something on par with S. Morgenstern's classic tale of true love and high adventure. Little Princess Bride call out there. Damsels causing distress, a hero that needs saving, a kiss for the fair ginger from his true desire of Mothma of Mon. Ooh. Will our counter of beans be able to tabulate the entries for any potential giveaway? These are the things of import to discuss while deep in your moons of azure. Will the warrior woman of Mandalore express her love for the youngling known as Ezra? Does the verdant era mourn still her warrior knight? Hell, man, how does Zeb even fit into a starfighter cockpit? I want to know what the FACBA crew thinks will happen in the Ahsoka. By the way, the ghost will be destroyed because I did this. He says, I did back this behemoth. I think he means buy, and he's showing a picture of the ghost.
I think was it Hasbro Labs or whoever does these, it's almost like a Kickstarter. They'll make it once it reaches that. They did that with the Razor Crest, and then they did it with this. And
so he's
each tier, the more they make another character to go with it as well.
I see. So. Okay. And as far as what do we think of the Ahsoka, Brian? That's a tease because next week we're going to get into that. We got a full preview we're doing, so we'll save.
We got a whole episode of what we thinking.
Yes, that's coming out next week. Thank you, Brian.
Although I'd like to say that was well written, and Brian, we would like you to write a story for our certain.
Brian can write a story.
Book. Yeah,
he could contribute multiple. Email number 2 from Mike Laybourne. What's up, Cole and friends?
What are you laughing at? What?
I wish I had video. I wish I had video to release of you
fighting this fucking fly.
And your gesticulations, just like yelling at people, swinging at flies.
This is why I need a studio. It just doesn't work in the house.
You do. We gotta fucking fast track that thing. Do I need to fly out there and help you build it?
Well, I mean, it comes down to funds right now. So,
so Mike Laybourne. Sorry. What's up, Cole and friends? Well, he loves to reference Cole because Resistance made Jay sad. Here are some classic Star Wars jokes to cheer him up.
Awesome.
Ready?
I'm ready.
These are very punny. Why couldn't Luke find love? And if you want to answer any of these, let me know.
Okay.
He was looking in Alderaan places.
So we're going to cringe. Okay.
It's going to be like this.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Buckle up. Why was Darth Vader bad at sports? He always choked.
Okay.
Which program do Jedi use to open PDF files? Adobe Wan Kenobi. Oh. What's the internal temperature of a tauntaun? Any thoughts?
Oh, I don't know.
Lukewarm.
Okay.
Fuck. What's Jar Jar Binks' favorite meal? Miso soup.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Then he just put Kazuda Jono. He's not laughing, Mike. That is not a joke to him. You ain't Kaz. A few more. Why couldn't Mace Windu send files by email?
Why?
Because attachments are forbidden.
Oh, boy.
What do Darth Vader and Americans have in common? They both use imperial units. It's all about that metric system. Mm-hmm. What's the best-selling, reasonably priced classic pirate in America? The Hondo Civic. That one hits close to home.
Nice.
What meal does the Death Star canteen serve on Canada Day? Pal poutine. Oh,
man.
Why is Solo a great movie? Because it just fucking well is, Chris. There you go.
Yeah.
A little shot at the villain senor. And then he just says, "May the force be with you. Don't do drugs. Stay in school, etc." Mike, I appreciate you sending something in, Mike.
I think we should at least once a year review Solo, just for Chris.
Just a constant
relive it.
Re-update. We need to do. We need to find a part of Solo that we can do a little dive into.
What
do we call them? Fact breakdown. We need to do one of those.
I agree.
Yeah, have to work on that. That is it for Maul Bags. Thank you, everybody, for sending those in. Just a note, too, as of next week. So starting with, we put out a tweet, asking people to send in their theories for Ahsoka.
Yep.
Starting with that, and then going into next week, we'll start the giveaway meter starts ramping up. So if you start sending in shit for that, you get entries. I'll get all into how to earn entries next week on the show, and I will also
we'll do the reveal of what we're giving away.
Yeah, right. Which you and I need to talk about a little bit off air.
Yeah. No one needs to know that. We got our shit together.
Yeah, of course. It's all been planned for years.
Okay. Hey, Mike, I want to know, hit us up on Twitter and let us know. He couldn't have wrote all those jokes, right?
No. I think he found those jokes.
A joke book? Okay.
Some of them he wrote.
Job
but I
well
think
done,
most,
if so.
Yeah, because in the past, he's written some stuff. Again, another writing contributor here. Mm-hmm. He could even make a Lego from a certain point of skew story if he'd like. He's a big Lego guy. But no, in the past, he sent us like those questions and stuff. Remember, he would do those quizzes and things. So he's got a creative mind. So let's have it, Mike.
All right. Thank you. I guess that's it, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go off, Mike, and talk now. So we'll see you next week when we do the Ahsoka rundown. So thank you so much for listening. Until next time.
Laugh it up, fuzzballs.
We have spoken. Dun, 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 dun.